Brooklyn Independent Television.
It was a very interesting experience to be in a canoe and be completely immersed in this environment. It's a different perspective.
The experience of being on water is a completely different feeling of anywhere in the city. It's like the sixth forgotten borough. It's really like a space that time exists in a different way than it does in the rest of the city.
Because nobody uses it, because it's polluted, because it's sort of abject in a way, that guarantees a certain type of quietness to the space. And the city kind of disappears when you go on the canal. What is the stuff that you collect? Just anything that...
I have, so those are iron flakes from the top of that sunken hull. This is the non-aqueous phase liquid. This is calcified tar from the inside of the tunnel. This is decaying wood.
I'm Susanna Saylor.
And I'm Ed Morris, and together we run a project called the Canary Project, which produces artwork that deepens public understanding of climate change. We also are Sailor Morris. We produce other types of artwork as well, but for the past 5 years, that's been our major project.
After having been on the water, it's very easy suddenly to reduce that place to the pollutants.
I'm the Director and Chief Curator of the Sheila Johnson Design Center, and we currently have an exhibition in the galleries called Unfold, which is on art and climate change. And it has 25 different artists who were in 3 different expeditions to the Arctic and the Andes. So this project was a commission of the Canary Project to try to put together a pedagogical workshop that took the climate change issue and applied it to something local.
Veronica was interested in having a visual studies workshop here in the city, and we thought a lot about how we could kind of respond to what's going on in the gallery, and we decided that it would be great to do our own expedition here in the city on a very different kind of body of water, but one also that's quite sensitive and vulnerable to climate change because of its low-lying location.
There's just, for me, a real story that continues to unfold.
In 2 weeks, after they've had time to make work, we'll rejoin for a presentation of the works and critique, and a very important part of that weekend will be curating the exhibit of the works that will be installed in the public spaces around the gallery where the Unfold exhibit is.
I'd like to reserve this as an asset for the exhibition.
We were talking about people's perceptions of the Gowanus and how dirty people think it is, and I want to be able to bring that sort of view, like the view from the surface of the water of what's happening, to Greenwich Village, where we're going to be putting this exhibition up.
I come from a place near Venice, so I was kind of all the time thinking, oh, you know, this reminds me of that, or this is different from what I see there. I think I would try to create a narrative in which I would convey the sense of a journey through 2 different spaces. You know, on the one hand, the space I know more, Venice canals, and then the Gowanus, and try to take people on this double journey and hopefully learn things in the process.
So this is the kind of main hub of the design school at Parsons. So every student that goes to school here passes through. The Gowanus itself is this space that when you actually put yourself in the Gowanus, you find yourself removed from the city. So you have to actually discover the Gowanus in a way. It's there, visible all the time, but until you really think about it, you don't really notice it. And we try to mimic that within the installation. So there's a flow of traffic, just like there's a hurly-burly in the city, and then there's pieces within that. So once you discover the pieces, it's like discovering the Gowanus.
The piece is mostly composed of things I found in the canal that are housed in little jars that I happen to have around the house. And they're presented in such a way as to sort of evoke a scientific collection, but also to evoke a personal collection that might have been damaged over time or abandoned. I think that the statement of the piece reflects the canal, but also reflects the sort of nature of what we're doing here, that when you bring materials from a place, like you would in an expedition, you sort of seem like you're giving the full story, because we think of material as the realest evidence we can get. But we've brought elements of the canal here that don't tell the whole story, and they can only be sort of little photographs, little snapshots. And so it does reflect the canal's sort of abandonment and change over time on its own, but more so the sort of incompleteness of any picture we can paint of the canal in this space.
The piece is a very composite sort of piece because it includes some map drawings. There are some notes that I took while I was reading and collecting information and doing research about Venice and Gowanus. And then there are two long scroll drawings that represent, on the one hand, the Gowanus Canal, and on the other hand, a canal in Venice. We also wanted to highlight some specific aspects of the canal that are very poetic and very beautiful for what they are. And that's where the connection with Venice, for me, made sense, because there are many parts of Venice that are not considered particularly beautiful, or they still have this industrial quality, but they make the place very authentic. You feel this connection with a certain idea of the wilderness, which is happening right there in the middle of Brooklyn. So it's an interesting relationship with nature, I would say, even in this highly industrialized place. I hope people will slow down in their everyday pace, be in this an open environment where usually people move in and out very quickly, and maybe have that sort of rhythm that belongs to the canal enter in their daily lives.
Become a fan on Facebook, like Brooklyn Independent Television.